Professional audio and video production, multi-camera live streaming, audio system for your panels and entertainment, plus stunning video screen production on LED walls. High quality, seamless production, tailored to your needs. Let us bring your vision to life. Contact us today.
The republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. If I can remind you to please silence your phones. Dr. Townsend's not with us tonight. It's going to be a four-member council. First order of business, public announcements. Details may be found at www.fairfieldme.com. The town of Fairfield is hiring for the following positions: Public Works Foreman, Firefighter/EMT, and Crossroads TV. Visit the town's website for more information on how to apply. Nomination papers for MSAG number 49 school board members are now available at the clerk's office and are due no later than April 11th at 4:30 p.m. There are 2 seats available for a 3-year term. Please contact the town clerk for details. On April 23rd, 2025, there will be a public hearing at the Fairfield Community Center to hear public comments on the annual town budget meeting warrant. Is that normal time, Michelle, 6:30?
Yes, it's
6:30
within
p.m.
your council meeting.
Within the council meeting. Heavy loads limited roadway signage has been posted throughout the municipality. Please contact Public Works with any questions. Lawrence Public Library. Celebrate National Library Week with us on April 7th through the 12th with a drawing contest, activities, refreshments, and more. We partnered with KV Connect for an Earth Day planting party and community cleanup on Tuesday, April 22nd at 4 p.m. Please find the event on our Facebook page or contact the library for more information. The next Jigsaw Puzzle Challenge will be in May. Please stay tuned for more information. The library's website can be accessed from the town's website, and all programs and events are posted on the calendar of events page. You can also find us on Facebook. Second order of business, public hearings. We have none. Third order of business, public comments. We'll limit to 3 minutes each. Members of the public may speak to the council or request the opportunity to speak on a specific item that's on the agenda, or may email comments for the council at info@fairfield-me.gov by 4 p.m. the day of the meeting. Submitted content may be read aloud at this time. We'll also take requests for anybody who would like to speak on an item further along in the agenda.
Do we have any emails that need to be read by Michelle?
I've got one that
Okay.
they'll address. Ron?
I'd like to save time for 25-37 and 25-38, and then I do have some stuff to speak to on.
Thank you.
How is the time?
Chris?
I'd like to speak on the, I know it hasn't been announced yet, but the town annual, the budget meeting warrant, item number 3 on the first order of business.
That's now.
What item is that?
Number 3, first order of business, the town budget meeting warrant.
That will be April 23rd.
Okay, is there an opportunity to discuss what's the contents of, or how that will pertain to Delta Ambulance tonight?
At that meeting, there will be.
Okay.
It's at that public hearing. Public comment is your only option for tonight.
Did you want to speak?
I would like to, yes. I
Tonight?
just don't know if there's a specific agenda item that really falls into it.
No. This would be the time to do it then, Chris, under
okay.
public comments.
Okay.
Anybody else who wish to reserve time or speak now?
And Chris wants to speak under public comments.
Chris can speak now.
Yeah.
You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time here. So, for those that don't know me, my name is Chris Mitchell. I'm the director for Delta Ambulance. I've been in the position for a little over a year. Delta Ambulance has served Fairfield and Benton for over 50 years. To the best of my knowledge, there's never been any systemic problems or concerns with Delta's performance, either clinically or operationally, that's been raised by the towns of Fairfield or Benton. When we're discussing the proposed launch of a transporting service by the town of Fairfield, my understanding described to me by Fairfield's administration is this is a financial concern, strictly financial. I want this to be clear as we move forward, since I have heard some references to Delta's performance in response times in clinical care. Delta also understands that Fairfield is acting in the best interest of its citizens as far as exploring all the options. We recognize that this is an expensive endeavor. There's no easy solution. I'm trying to balance increased fire staffing and trying to figure out how to offset some of those costs. And even though I represent Delta, I'm looking out for Delta's interests. I've also been in public safety for more than 20 years. I realize that in not all times will the interests of a town always agree with the interests of the company. So I do bear that in mind. But there are several points in here, and I'll try to be quick. I know my time is limited. I do have this printout for everyone's reference, but there are a few things I think deserve public attention. I've heard the $330,000 mentioned several times as a total service fee for what Delta's going to be charging next year. That's come up a couple times in the meetings that I've watched. And I just wanted to be clear, the $330,000 is starting in July of 2025. That's the combined total between Fairfield and Benton. That's not just Fairfield. Based on what we have for population data and the per capita rate that we're going to be going to, which is 35, Fairfield's total service fee to Delta will be about $227,000, give or take. For that $227,000, that provides access to a fleet of ambulances, sometimes multiple at a time, discounted EMS training for Fairfield's first responders, replacement of soft goods and medical supplies at no charge, oxygen refills at no charge, ambulance standby coverage for town events at no charge. We have an established QI program that ensures good clinical care. That same $227,000, if that were to be like an independent endeavor by the town of Fairfield, that's about 50% staffing for one ambulance for a year, and that's as far as it goes. That doesn't account for support costs, equipment, purchasing the vehicles, none of that. There has been a group of area experts. There's a report, and I believe Chief Leary has that report, that's concluded roughly that 2 ambulances are required to appropriately cover the towns of Fairfield and Benton. That's because of call overlap. It's because there are a significant number of times during the year where a call will come out before the preceding one has concluded. That scenario is likely to get worse this year with the closure of Inland Hospital, because turnaround times are going to get longer. We don't know exactly how long, but transports to outlying hospitals are going to become more frequent. As it stands right now, last year Delta responded to, I believe it was around 1,500 EMS calls. Might have that number exactly wrong. We were able to cover, 97 to 98% of those. So we used about 2 to 3% of those as mutual aid. But that's again with a fleet of ambulances. The ability to do that with one ambulance, frankly, isn't there. And that's due to the call overlap, that's due to the geography of the 2 towns. There are places in Fairfield and Benton that just take a long time to get to, and those turnaround times are pretty extensive. As far as mutual aid goes, I wanted just a clear distinction here. This was brought up before. Transporting services typically do not charge each other for mutual aid, but there's a reason for that. It's because when a service appropriately staffs itself for its expected call volume for an area, we base it on what we expect on a normal day. There's always going to be surges in call volume for bad weather, snowstorms, multi-patient incidents, something that's going to stress our resources, but on a typical day we're appropriately staffed. So we don't charge each other because usually it's a wash. We'll respond to Fairfield, we'll respond to Waterville will cover us. We'll respond into Augusta will cover us. The proposal, as I understand it from the town right now, to phase in one ambulance is, it's effectively short staffing the town, both towns, for an indefinite amount of time, because to get that second ambulance in service, we don't know how long it's going to take. We don't know if we can find the staffing for it. We don't know if there's ever going to be a budget for it. So it's one ambulance where we're acknowledging that we need two, and there's really no predictable end to how long it's going to last. And that's going to place a load on the surrounding services. I can't speak for Waterville, Winslow, or any other surrounding towns that provide transport service, but I know for Delta, that will not be a mutual aid scenario, because it's placing an expected demand on us to backfill a town that is not going to be appropriately staffed. And that's really nobody's fault. It's just the way it is. I will be recommending to our board of directors a charge of $900 per call to come into the town to back up Fairfield's single ambulance. That's an appropriate number for considering the cost of what it takes us to run a single 911 call, and it's comparable to what other services around the state are charging for mutual aid in similar situations. I don't know how I'm doing on time. You can stop me if you need to.
You just hit it.
Okay.
Chris, I'm going to speak for the board, because you have been extremely transparent. You've come to multiple meetings. I mean, we didn't ask you to come tonight, obviously. You came on your own accord. We're going to continue to discuss what we need to do for our staffing levels.
Yep.
Our fire department is a combined service with Benton. So when we talk about mutual numbers, it's because we subsidize you, as does Benton, but we are one service. So a Fairfield Fire and EMS service is one unit with Benton. We have a mutual contract with them. It's been in place since 2014. We understand the position you are in. You are a private service provider, a valuable service provider that our citizens want. You're in a position where you require a 35 per capita fee. It's not negotiated. You tell us what it's going to be, and we're at your mercy. But it's a contract that is one-sided because you determine the price. Fair or not, Winslow left, Waterville left. We don't know what your future holds, but we need your service at this point. But we also need more staff in our fire department to accomplish what our audit says we need to do. We need to provide more. So there'll be ongoing discussion on what's best for our citizens. We'll listen to our taxpayers. Yep. It's a service you provide. We're very happy with the service. It's a great service that you provide.
Thank you.
But your future is in doubt, no different than the hospitals. You get subsidies from the taxpayers. You get subsidies from the hospitals. And at the end of the day, you're a private entity. So we highly value your service. I'm thankful for you to come and be here to tell these, proper information. And when we need to be corrected, I'm going to be all ears. But as I told you before, we have to provide what's in the best interest of our taxpayers, because there's no promise of tomorrow, as we're finding out with healthcare all around the state, especially right now here in Waterville. Mm-hmm. So I don't want you to think we're trying to undermine or undercut you. We're being very transparent. We talk about it right here in open session. We're doing our studies and our feasibilities, and for right now, you're our best option and our best service. So I hope we value your service.
I appreciate that.
So I got a question too. So you mentioned the $900, which I thought it was only $800. Do you know how many times that you did that last year overlapped?
I think we roughly estimated it somewhere between 2 and 250. I don't remember the exact number.
So we'll go with 225, right? So now, do you do that to any other town?
Do what to any other town?
Overlap via that two, like the $900?
No, because we don't really mutual aid with any other services that are. The services that we mutual aid for right now really are Waterville, Winslow, and Augusta. Mm-hmm. And those are all basically staffed up to a level where they can accommodate their call volume that they expect on an average day.
Okay.
Just like we can accommodate our expected call volume in an average day, but sometimes things happen and we need mutual aid, and sometimes things happen and they need mutual aid. So there's a give and take there. So if we were to charge them, they're going to turn around and charge us, and it ends up being a wash at the end. This is a little bit of a different scenario. I just wanted to make that distinction.
And the difference being that we're going to be understaffed.
Correct. Until that second ambulance is in service, which is, again, as I understand, there's not really a timeline there because it depends on a lot of factors that are still in motion. We just don't know how long that's going to be, and that will temporarily at least put a load on the surrounding services to backfill.
Yeah. Okay, so that report that you said that's out there, where can someone get that?
I know it was issued directly to Travis. Travis was the one that requested it, Chief Leary. Once it made it to the town council, I believe it was just going to be a form of public record at that point. So I guess once it's in your hands, then it'll be available.
Back in October.
I think the group generally discussed that they should go through the towns that they're submitted to rather than it just being freely floating around the internet.
Yeah, and then I've had a question that was asked to me the other day. How many do you have from 6 to 6 at night trucks on the road in service?
So fully scheduled, we have 4. Most nights we're running about 3. It really varies a lot. But before the last quarter, end of last year, we were staffed really well. And the first couple months of 2025, our staffing fell a little bit, and now we're kind of recovering a little bit. So it's 3 to 4. 4 is full.
Yeah, and I'll say just what the chair said, that, we really, really value your service. A lot of our elderly depend on you on a daily basis. And we really, really need to do our homework and see which is best that we need to go down the road, so.
And again, I understand the town's doing its due diligence, which is what I would expect. So I'm here to answer any questions and provide honest feedback, and I just wanted to make sure there was some clarity, because this is a complicated issue.
Chris, I have 2 more questions. How big's your service area?
520, 530 square miles, I believe.
How big is Fairfield and Benton combined?
I'm not sure what the square mileage is off those 2 towns off the top of my head.
84.
Okay.
Chief, it's,
84.
okay.
So we're about 15% of your volume, give or take, quick math?
12.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, that's
So
pretty good.
So if we were forced to go, I mean, you were forced to go into a role where other towns left, that you required a subsidy to take care of our service area, to make it feasible for you to stay in operation.
Yep.
You don't currently charge a mutual aid fee to those other 2 towns that you will still service mutual aid because they will to you. But now all of a sudden, if we do explore this, we're going to be thrown at another $900 fee for an overflow.
Well, again, this...
Well, wait a minute, hold on. You're going to throw a fee at us at $900 per call, and then you're going to bill to the participant who's being transported, which you do already. So we pay a subsidy, hospital pays a subsidy, Delta bills the insurance company, and then and most of the time, if you go to Waterville, you're going to get a second transport to go to Augusta. So a patient of ours in Fairfield or Benton could technically get charged 4 times. You're going to get paid 4 times on the same service call. I just don't see that fair.
We don't have any control over where the patients are transported to. Generally speaking, we go to the closest appropriate facility. We take patient requests within reason. Patient wants to go to Thayer and they need admission. There are no admission beds at Thayer, so they require transport down there. Sometimes Thayer will divert us if we know what the situation is. Sometimes Thayer will divert us and we'll go straight to Augusta. That happens often. Other times we'll try to, I won't say recommend, but we give them their options and we kind of tell them, this is likely to end in an admission. It might be better off to go to Augusta versus go over here. But we have no control over where the patients are transported to. To answer your question about the $900, we have to look at what our operating costs are. Again, this is not a mutual aid scenario. This is a general agreement where 2 ambulances are needed to cover a town. 1 ambulance is being put in service, and mutual aid is going to be the solution until we can put ambulance number 2 on the road. And that will put a burden on Waterville and Winslow and us, and I can't speak for those other towns, but I would not be surprised if they were to approach this in a similar fashion. Other towns around the state do this. We have not to date, but this would be a unique situation where Fairfield would not be fully staffed to accommodate its call volume. And we don't know how long that's going to last for. It could be 6 months, it could be 2 years. We just don't know. We can't absorb that operating loss, or excuse me, that operating cost for an undetermined amount of time.
Okay.
So Delta right now is we're at $35 per capita, and that's a standard for everybody in your area, or is there a different amount per?
There's no different amount. It's a per capita rate across the whole population.
you know, if you guys improve financially or whatever the situation may be, do you ever see that 35 going down or away?
I don't. If the last few months have taught us anything, it's that generally speaking, when surprises happen, they're not good ones. I did mention to all the towns, I think in a letter a couple months ago, that we received employee revenue tax credits. We're expected to receive about $2.1 million. The number changes a little bit every time we look at it. But a lot of that money is still being used to catch us up. Had we already been broken even and we were already on a good vehicle replacement schedule and we were, you know, well-staffed and well-paid and all that, this might be a different discussion where we could hopefully look at, you know, our town scenarios and say we can hold off on any increases for, you know, 2-3 years. We're not in that position. No one expected inland to close. No one expected main care payments to freeze for who knows how long. So that's all having an impact, and it's not stuff we can predict.
Yeah.
So as much as I would like to say, yeah, we can hold off, we can freeze, they might go down, the reality is they probably won't.
And when was Delta's conception?
1974, I believe. Two.
Okay.
Sorry, I've been neck deep in the Articles of Incorporation for the past few days.
I'd like to thank you for taking time to come. This is a discussion that is going to be ongoing. Priority for me is to get the fire department fully staffed so that we can take care of the needs of our people. What happens after that will require communication with all parties involved. And I think that it's something that will have to take place, and we can't predict the future, and we don't know what's going to happen. But it's tough times right now, so what are we going to do? I think that a discussion down the road is going to be warranted, but again, getting our fire department staffed fully is a necessity, so.
And if I could offer just one more sentiment here. I understand that the fire staffing is a serious issue, and this is in no way trying to detract from that. This is, like I said, this is a very complicated issue, and I know Chief Leary has said multiple times that he only wants to move forward with this if we can do it the right way. So and I understand, like I said, standing here, I'm biased towards Delta a little bit, but I also do see the bigger picture as far as public safety and the responsibilities of a town council to make sure that the citizens are taken care of. So I am doing my best to see all sides of this, as much as I'm looking out for Delta also.
We share that sentiment, Chris. If we want it done in the right way.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah.
you're a very valuable service. We appreciate the service that you provide. Our taxpayers want it, our citizens need it, and we wouldn't change anything unless it was the right thing to do. So again, I thank you for coming. I thank you for being transparent. We understand the position you're in. We're not trying to make it worse. And we're being open and transparent here. I mean, these are our discussions. They're here.
Yep, and I appreciate that too. So.
And a lot of us might not agree on everything, but we're here talking about it right in front of everybody.
That's
so.
the important thing.
Yeah, everyone has to know what's going on. And I appreciate you coming in and letting us know everything too, so.
And please continue with the updates.
Sure, I will.
Yeah, they're
Appreciate
great
that.
too.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Ron?
Hello, council.
Hello.
Got a few things to discuss tonight or ask some questions. One is the agenda, okay? Is every item on this agenda sponsored by a member here on the council?
What do you mean by sponsored?
I mean by the agenda is the council, I take it, sponsored all the items on this agenda, correct?
No. Want me to
No.
answer that? No.
So can you tell me which ones on the agenda was sponsored by council?
This community doesn't do sponsorships for agenda items.
But we're under Robert's rule.
We're under a hybrid Roberts rule. We're also under our town manager / town council form of government. There are many different forms of government. Some towns are small and they do not have a town manager. Our council has a town manager, and we rely on that service, much like a school board does with a superintendent. So if the council wants something on the agenda, we will add it. As I read in the beginning, if there's somebody that has comment or they want something brought up, they bring it to a councilor, we can add it. So
Okay.
we have final say. I do approve the agenda.
So you approve the agenda? So like items that are on the agenda doesn't have to be put on there by the council? It can be put on by anybody?
If you request an item on the agenda, we will add it.
Okay.
But it does take a couple weeks for that, couple meetings for that to happen. It has to be brought up through, probably through public comments. And then we would decide for the next meeting that it would be put on the agenda.
Okay. Just kind of confused because I thought Robert's rules stated that the council makes up the agenda.
Okay, I'll kind of jump in too on this.
I mean, I've got several questions here, so I mean, I don't want to...
No, I get it.
If you want to answer now or...
No, I'll
later,
answer this now because that way it
Okay.
won't get lost in
Okay.
translation of everything else that you're talking about. According to, you're reciting Robert's rule, I mean, we do run under a hybrid side of it, but it's very clear that the board has control over the agenda exclusively, and that's what it is. In reference to, and I know what you're talking about, it's about the pickup truck and it's about the ice rink material. I did not put that on there, and I don't believe any of us did. I believe it came from Michelle that put those on there. Is that correct, Michelle? Can you respond to that?
Yes, I often put items on the agenda that are involved with what the town needs to have done for town business.
Those are part of the day-to-day operations that a town manager runs. That's her job.
That is incorrect. So what I'm trying to say is this. The council is, I mean, you can read it from Robert's rule, you can read it from anything that you want to in that. We are responsible for that agenda item, no matter what it is. I mean, all it has to be is, hey, we're putting that on the agenda, fine, see you later. And I understand, it just didn't happen that way. So, I mean, to know that to happen would be great. So, I know what you're saying.
I believe the secretary is the one who's supposed to do by Robert's rule, do the agenda.
Yeah,
And then it
and
goes-
they're supposed to turn it over
Correct,
to the
correct.
chair. I get
Okay,
it.
so obviously, we're not, I mean, originally when you took chair, you said you was going to follow by Robert's rules, Tim. So that's where I was coming from this.
And
You
we
said
will-
you specifically was going to operate under Robert's rule. You was not going to vote unless it came to a tie.
Yeah. And I was under the assumption that we used Robert's rules, and I was later corrected that we use a hybrid form of rules.
So now we've changed it, so,
I haven't changed it. It was what has been adopted in the past. I was wrong in assuming that's the way it was. We can get legal clarification. That's the right answer to give you.
okay.
We will absolutely get, we have legal counsel.
I'm just, I mean,
Well-
it's just,
No, we'll look into it.
thank you. So my next one was putting this out there. I understand that the fire chief just got his new truck. What was the chief's new truck classified or submitted to use ARPA funds? What was it submitted for?
So this was done in December before I was on council, so I'm going to have to
Right, so-
refer this to the town manager.
I'm wondering what that truck was classified to be used for. To get, what we put it in to be used for. That was the next question.
Michelle, can you answer that one?
Yeah, it was classified to be used as a response vehicle for the fire chief and the ability to use it as his mobile response station, which is what the upfitting and all of that stuff is for.
Okay, so can you, I mean, I don't want to get too much into this, but I mean, I've got so you classified it as, can I address that?
Please. Is
You
that all right, Michelle?
classified it
You
as
mind if
what,
he directs
Michelle?
you directly?
I'm fine.
You classified it as what?
It's a vehicle for the fire chief.
Okay, and that's under ARPA funds.
Yeah.
States right here, purchase of ARPA funds, essential equipment such as pumper trucks, aerial rescue units is what you can use that funds for as far as vehicles. So I'm just asking, where did this fire
It's
chief?
an emergency response vehicle that fits within the parameters.
It is,
Yeah.
through them? Mm-hmm. And it's already, you're sure of
The
that?
classification in which the town of Fairfield collected its ARPA funds was under revenue laws, period. That encompassed the entire classification of all of the funds that we received. Then they had to be expended for things that fell under various different categories. And an emergency response vehicle that is considered a vehicle that can be used during emergency situations falls underneath that.
Okay, so if it's going to be an emergency vehicle, that means it will be stationed up here at the fire station?
As much as the one that we currently have is, yes. That is
But we
its home
used
base.
ARPA funds for this one, though, so what I'm saying is,
Yes. It will follow all the parameters that it needs to follow, but yes, its home base is the fire station.
okay. Because that, I mean,
good.
I'm just looking for clarification of what we put it in for to the federal government.
Yeah, so it's already been done and taken care of and reported.
It has?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I'm just looking at what the federal government says that they can be put in for as far as vehicles, but, okay.
Ron, you're asking me something that was done in December before I was on the
I know,
council.
I know, Tim.
I apologize
No,
for not having the
no,
answer.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm
It's
just
the
trying to
first-
get clarification
It's the
of-
first time I'm hearing it right now as you're
If-
speaking.
If you have a copy of the law and all of the bill that went along with that, with those clarifications, I simply would
I
ask you
mean,
to
the
send it to me.
clarification is right online under the ARPA funds,
You
what you can use that money for as far as emergency vehicles.
That's not the only thing that you can use that money for
No, you can use
classifications,
it,
but-
matter of fact, I mean, you can use
I'd
it for
happy to have
hiring
you send that to me.
firefighters, you can use it for training firefighters, you can use it for all kinds of stuff. I'm not arguing that. I'm just wondering what the clarifications are that we put in for the federal government. But, other than that, have we,
Again, we can look into it. I don't have that
if you
answer for
could,
you.
would you please look into what we
Yes,
classified that
absolutely.
vehicle under?
Sure.
For the ARPA funds? I won't take up much more. Have we explored Indeed or put anything out as far as newspapers for employment? I've asked this several times if we've put anything out there except for our website. Have we done the Indeed, trying to get some more exposure for hiring? You know, Indeed's a big thing out there. People look at it, Indeed to, look for jobs and everything else. The newspapers, people still read the newspapers for job hirings. Just another thing I'm wondering if we could look into.
Well, Michelle, do we use Indeed at all? Do you know?
We do.
Yep.
Hence the number of applications we get from Seattle and Utah.
Excellent. I didn't know we did Indeed. It's pretty much usually.
Yep, that's.
Nice, nice. 2 weeks ago, you guys had a council meeting here. They said that they were close, you had 5 applicants for the firefighter to be hired. Can you tell me where we're standing with that 2 weeks later?
Chief is here. We can ask Chief.
Yeah, Chief?
Just kind of wondering, I mean, I see that it wasn't on the agenda, so I just was wondering where we stood with the new hire.
It would come up in committee reports, but, department head reports. but-
And applicants usually have a review board, and they take time.
Tim, the last,
As a town council, we have a town manager who's in charge of personnel matters. So again, I don't want to come across as I don't have answers for you, but
We just don't know.
But the proper chain would be, we're going to ask Chief Leary, it's his staff. I mean, I don't know what's come in for new applicants, if he is hired yet.
Okay. I just asked him the question because it was
I
brought
totally
up
get
2
it,
weeks ago.
but again, the chain of command is going to be chief, and then the town manager, and then if you don't get your answers, then you ask us, and we're going to find out. We're going to announce a new police officer. I have a memorandum on that tonight, so that's just how the chain works, and
That's
we'll
where I
find
was
out.
going. I see
Chief,
that
did you
we-
want to come up and
I
answer
see
that for him
we-
real
I
quick?
see we had a police officer come on, so I was kind of
Yeah.
wondering, I didn't see it on there, I just was asking. You had some good numbers last meeting, Tim, you threw out a bunch of numbers on the ambulance and stuff. Is that including what it would cost us for billing? Do you have any idea of what it's going to cost us for billing?
No.
Collection agencies, if we have to hire any of that? So we haven't researched any of that
I
stuff yet.
haven't got that far yet, but I can
Okay.
tell you that Chief does it with Clinton. He's also the chief in Clinton.
Yeah.
So we have a valuable resource that knows exactly what those things cost, so we can ask.
Yes, obviously, that's Clinton. That's not what Fairfield may have to pay if we pull out.
Well, as far as billing goes and what's collectible or third parties, I think they've got a good handle on it. Again, we will be transparent. We'll have ongoing discussions as we get there. Absolutely, everything has to be factored in, from that to insurance, additional insurance costs. So, yeah, there's not going to be anything left out. We don't need any surprises.
No, we don't. We don't need any leftover surprises.
Yeah.
So lastly is, now get off the podium here. Last meeting, you said that you wanted to hire 3 new members. That would put us at 3 per shift, okay? I'm just going to throw this scenario out there. 3 per shift, running an ambulance that you suppose were going to bring on board or whatever. If you put 3 on shift, 2 of them have to take off with an ambulance, that's going to leave 1 member at the station. Structure fire comes in up on Kelly Street, person trapped on the 2nd floor. What's that 1 person going to do? We're still going to be strapped, Tim, with personnel.
I totally agree. We need to get to 4. We know
So-
that by audit report, but you also know it takes 4 people to enter a building.
Correct.
So I don't
You
care
could
if I
have
have 2 people on staff or 3 people on staff, they're still not entering that building until there's 4 people there.
Correct. You got to have 2, you got to have...
So that's why we continue to have these ongoing discussions with people with knowledge like you that we have to listen to. But we also need to be able to afford it. There has to be a means to be able to get there, because right now we staff 2 per shift. And the reason that audit's there is because if those 2 people leave for a call and we have a second call, what do? We use mutual aid.
Right.
And it works seamlessly. We've had it happen recently, so.
But, I mean, I know that everybody's always screaming mutual aid. And I can guarantee the chief's going to tell me that sometimes mutual aid is not available. They're doing their own calls. So sometimes you're going to run into, we ain't got that mutual aid. Unfortunately, we are lucky that mutual aid is there most of the time. But
Yeah.
it's going to just take that one time when that mutual aid isn't available. My recommendation, and it's just my recommendation, is Chief Leary needs some serious help. And we've got, what do we got in the undesignated funds? A lot of money, like $6.5 million. I just think that we ought to get this man some members hired out of the undesignated funds, not worry about the ambulance service to offset the money right now, and look at the ambulance further down the road. I mean, because he needs personnel, and he needs it now. I've been saying this now for the past, year and a half. We got money in the undesignated funds that could pay for him.
Also, too, Ron, is I think it has to be union approved, too.
Correct, it does. It has to be.
And if the union doesn't approve it, we can't do it.
Wait, what?
If the union don't approve them 3, we can't do it.
So we have addressed that already, as you're going to have a special warrant item to address 3 new staff members that is going to go out. Budget committee will report and see how their recommendation went last night. But that's still only going to get us to 3 per shift. It's not going to cover the 4 necessary to get into a fire.
And, I mean, Chief will go right along beside me. I know he will. I mean...
But Ron, let's go back to the undesignated fund, okay? We need X amount of money to cover 6 months balance budget. We've already dipped past that amount by taking $1.45 million that the council's suggesting we use. It's going to be, you're looking at a fund that's at 8.8 million, not taking out the 950 that we spent this year, not taking out the 1.5 million that we took out to address this year's budget. It's not there. You have to have enough funds to be able to operate in case we don't get state revenue sharing like the hospitals are facing right now.
Right.
So we're doing our due diligence on our balanced funds to staff a $1.4 million fire department where 99% of it is salary and wages and benefits, and you want to double staff it? I don't know where the funds are coming in. Where we're going to double tax everybody to be able to maintain it next year or the year prior. So that's why we continue to have these ongoing discussions, because we want to staff appropriately. We want our citizens to have the best that we can possibly provide them. We want our employees to feel like that they're being supported, but at what cost? Who can afford it? How do we pay for it? So
I understand
that's why we
that, but
continue to talk about these things.
We need to get his fire department up to staff.
So that's going to be at this budget in April when we talk about the warrant. you'll see that additional warrant item for 3 additional staff members. It's still not going to be enough. We know that. But today, there's 7, and we need to get to a higher level. And we need to be able to do it in a manner that we can afford to do it. I don't know what school budget's going to come in at. We have no control over that.
Have you looked at the call members? Have you done anything with the call members to see if we can get more out of them or not?
Again, staffing is, we're aware of it. Personnel matters go the proper channels. I don't know who's on the call roster, who shows up. We know we'd like to pay stipends to get a bigger call roster. We're listening to everything that's being said. It's still coming up with the money. We're not going to create 1,000 new taxpayers out of thin air to pay for it.
Yeah, I just don't want to see us jump into this ambulance service and then it defeat its purpose when we have 1 or 2 ambulances. You got 4 staffing on, you got 2 ambulances up there, and both ambulances leave to go on a call. Now we have a fire call. What are you going to do? I mean, you're going to be still understaffed.
Valid points, all valid points.
Yeah.
Whether or not you put 4 on or 3 on, you're still going to be understaffed.
Yeah.
So.
I do have a question before Chief Leary comes in. It's for Michelle. Michelle, we're mandated for state law to be at a 3-year expenditure limit, right, for our town?
A what?
We're supposed to, 3 month. For how much money are we supposed to have in our undesignated fund for us to be able to maintain?
It's not a law, it's
recommendation.
an accounting
recommendation.
practice, recommendation that you have at least a minimum of 3 months.
Right.
Just to update on the hiring process, I've received a total, I don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it's been 6 total. Unfortunately, only 3 are qualified, and one of those is not going to participate in our process. So we're down to 2 viable candidates, and we're waiting to hear back on getting a date when they'll be available to come.
Actually good news,
within
though.
the next couple of weeks. So
Now, I have a question on the equipment, right? So,
Can we get there when it comes to the agenda, or do you need it now? This is just public hearing.
no, I'm not talking about that equipment.
Okay.
It's like the call roster equipment, right? So you have how many on your call roster?
I think I'm going to, right off the top, I don't know.
Just
right
a
off the top of my
guess.
head. I'm guessing 14 right now.
Okay, 10 to 14 or whatever?
14, yeah.
So does each one of them have turnout gear?
Yes, yeah.
And do you look at it to say how many times they're showing up versus how many times we've never seen them?
We do, and that's an issue that we battle with. Like we've put on, since I've taken over, we've probably put on half a dozen people, and maybe one of those 6 people actually respond to calls.
So you got 5 people that don't show up, but they're geared.
We've actually put people on, put them through the Fire 1 and 2 program, and they never made a call.
So how much does it cost to fit a?
Well, fortunately, we do have some stock of older gear, but it's extremely limited, and it's getting very old. So typically, we don't put brand-new gear on a new person for that fact that we don't know if they're gonna like it, if they're gonna be active. If we get an active person that's really active and wants to do all the training, then down the road we will buy them a new set.
Because gear's only certified for 10 years?
Yeah, that's the NFPA recommendation.
Yeah, even if it's bagged brand new, it's still 10 years.
Yeah.
Michelle?
It sounds like this needs to be put on as a discussion item for the town council and not necessarily a public comment session. We could certainly schedule this as an item for your next meeting, and therefore, because there may be other people who want to participate in that conversation, and that way Chief Leary's not being put on the spot and he can actually get you the information that you need.
No.
Well, it should be an action item if we're going to have a discussion on it.
item,
This is public hearing that has nothing
public
to do.
Well, that's all. I mean, it was brought up about call rosters, and I just wanted to find out how many people. I'm done, but.
But typically, public comment isn't used so that you question the staff on other things that they haven't had time to prepare to get you the information for, just for clarity.
Well, how is he not knowing how many people he has working for him?
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
If he doesn't know how many people work for him, we have a bigger problem than that.
Okay, any other public comments? We'll move on to 4th order of business. Reports from staff and committees. Town manager report.
All right, so on March 13th, the town did purchase the 4 lots on the industrial road. That purchase was completed. The purchase price was down from the council-approved $154,000 to $152,900. And those funds did come from the Industrial TIF District. And you have an item on here about, to further discuss that project there. That's on your agenda for tonight. Also on the 13th, I attended the KRDA Executive Board meeting. March 17th, we had 2 new town office staff members start, Sheila Patel and Bethany Byrne, so we're grateful to have them with us. March 18th, I attended the KVCOG Board of Directors meeting. KVCOG was successful in obtaining a housing opportunity grant from DECD. Part of this grant will be for obtaining a pilot program that will use the town of Fairfield to do an inventory for property as well that are well positioned for development based on available resources, utilities, and zoning allowances. So there'll be more to come on that in the future. On the 19th, I met with Central Maine Growth Council to discuss past and future land and water conservation grants for Mill Island Park. The town has had 2 of those grants in the past, and there's some maintenance pieces that we're discussing with them and how that will look for the future. And also, on the 19th, I attended the first Climate Resiliency Info session at the Community Center, Maine Won't Wait, Understanding Maine's 4-year climate plan, which Councillor Thibodeau, I'm sure, will speak on more. This presentation, for those that weren't here, is able to be viewed on Crossroads TV's Facebook page as well as Vimeo. On the 20th, I attended Legislative Policy Committee meeting at MMA in Augusta all day, and also that evening, KRGA's annual budget meeting where they approved their 25-26 budget. The 24th, all non-emergency services were closed at noon due to the weather. The 25th, the Budget Committee met, rescheduled from the 24th. Happy to report that the additional article for the fire department staffing and the council's requested amount for the undesignated fund balance, both were recommended by the Budget Committee. This means that the Budget Committee and the Town Council support the same budget amounts for 25-26 on all items except for spring cleanup article. One of the things we did discuss at that Budget Committee meeting was the fact that the article for the 3 additional members of the fire department in no way, shape, or form meant that the town of Fairfield was going out and getting an ambulance and starting transport service, and the fact that there would be multiple conversations that still needed to happen and things that needed to be put in place before that could happen. But they agreed about the staffing levels and agreed with that being in the budget, the increase for the undesignated fund balance. So that was good. And then also this morning, we had the Central Maine Growth Council Board of Directors meeting. And just for a quick update, the new stove for the community center did arrive this past Monday during the storm. The exhaust system was professionally cleaned this morning, and contact has been made with electricians for the wiring. We're working on sourcing the remaining appliances, but we did purchase the stove at a great deal less than what was in the grant, so that's a good piece. And Hools has started the work on the new bottle filling stations, but they require power, which the current water fountains don't have, so they're working on all of that piece. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Other committee reports? Steph, you want to start with economic development?
Thank you. As Michelle mentioned, we did meet on the 19th with the first informational session. There were 10 people in the audience. It was very informative. The whole climate plan for the state, if you watch it on Crossroads TV, the book itself is over a half an inch thick. There are different strategies that they're using. What we're going to be doing with the 4 informational sessions, they actually fall into place in one of the strategies on keeping people informed and knowing what their opportunities are in case of an emergency. So our next meeting will be May 20th. It's going to be a panel discussion on understanding the Maine Emergency Management System. And that will take it from the state level, the county level, and the municipal level. Other economic business, on April 15th, we're going to be having a public input session here on the downtown. The Economic Committee has been working on redoing our downtown plan, And in order for this to happen, we need to get input from our citizens and business owners. I hope people can come out on that meeting, on that night. It's April 15th, 6 o'clock. The committee members will be at tables, and you'll see that the downtown will be divided up into zones, and those zones will have specific criteria that needs to be addressed. So this is not on Crossroads TV, but we do need the public's input. Coinciding with that, a week before that meeting, around April 7th, Central Maine Growth Council will be putting up a survey for our citizens and business owners to do. I did it, I did the draft. It took about 14 minutes because I did all that age and income and all that section at the end. But that's an important part for us for the future. So this will be on our town website. You can access it. Look for it around April 7th. It's going to go out about a week before the input session on April 15th. So, and I thank you ahead of time because we need your help. We need your input, and it's going to be for the future of Fairfield. Thank you.
Also, too, our next meeting is next Tuesday.
Right, and thank you, Peter. And the Economic Committee normally meets the first Tuesday of every month at 3:30, right here in council chambers.
What's that date? April 1st?
April 1st.
April 1st.
Yes, at 3:30.
Thank you, Councilor Thibodeau.
Welcome.
Budget Committee, as Michelle said, it sounds like they met last night, and they are in full agreement with everything the council said, except for the one item of town cleanup. So we'll discuss that at our warrant on April 27th, unless Mark has anything else to report. Nope.
Pretty much covered it.
Okay.
Quick meeting.
PFAs, I think we will address next meeting. On some recommendation, Dr. Townsend's not here tonight, so we'll skip that committee. Building Committee, Peter?
We will be discussing members tonight on, at the end.
Okay. Any other committees?
Nothing. Applications right there.
Yep.
Okay, fifth order of business, consent agenda items. These items are considered routine and standard business, and therefore they'll be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these matters unless council member requests prior to consideration of this portion of the agenda, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered on the next on the agenda. Item 25-35, order that the Fairfield Town Council hereby waives the reading of and accept the minutes of the meeting 2025-05 held on March 12, 2025. Item 25-36, order that the Town Council hereby approves the Treasurer's warrant number 112 in the amount of $424,233.99, which includes but is not limited to New England Salt Company, motor vehicle fees, MMA employee health insurance, and workers' comp insurance.
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous? Sixth order of business, Old Council business. Building Committee volunteer applications.
That's an item.
That
on
will
your
be
agenda.
discussed, item 2541.
Yep.
Okay. Review and discuss the letter from DOT. I think council's all received a letter from Highway Safety. If you want, I'll just simply read the letter so members can hear it. We received a letter from the letter of Highway Safety. Dear council members, thank you for your letter of February 26 requesting a safety review of several intersections in Fairfield and a recap of the results of a letter from Police Chief from 2019. I've been asked to provide an initial reply on behalf of the Commissioner. Our safety office will be reviewing the intersections mentioned in your letter, and will be sharing the results of the review in a subsequent letter when that work has been completed. The result from the 2019 review of the Norwich Walk Road did not show any deficiencies in the highway signs, or striping. The review did show that 50th percentile speed of the drivers was 57 miles per hour, and the 85th percentile speed was 62 miles an hour. As a result of that review, we have determined that segment of highway did not meet the threshold for the installation of rumble strip at that time. Since then, our threshold for the installation of rumble strips has changed, and prompted by your letter, I have worked with the folks overseeing rumble strips and reached an agreement. The installation of rumble strips will be programmed on the Norris Rock Road wherever the speed limit is 45 miles an hour or greater, from town line to town line, in those areas where pavement condition is sufficient to support the effective safety features. Thank you again for your letter. Signed, David Allen, Regional Engineer for DOT. So I think
I'm just wondering how effective the rumble strips will be. I'm just concerned the residents coming off the secondary roads onto the main road.
Is it a centerline rumble strip? Is that what you're talking about?
I would think it would be shoulder. I don't know. Michelle, do you have any more input on that?
It could be shoulder, but what they did do on 201 a year or so ago is they actually put them center line. And they may do that, but I have not had a conversation with David Allen to know for certain.
Okay.
You can request either one, but.
So the majority of that road is going to be over 50 miles an hour. I know the letter says 45. I think only in the center portion, probably from the hill at Irving.
I think it's between on the other side of the Grange and to before the Center Road.
Right.
That's the only part.
Yep.
The rest of it's all over 45.
Yep. So I'm just pleased that we sent a letter out less than a month ago. We've already got a response, and it sounds like they plan to take action. So
Yeah, that's good.
again, thank you for getting that letter out for us. It shows our concerns on those intersections. Okay, PFA committee report. Again, discussion will be April 9th. Old council business. I did receive a letter from a couple of citizens that we had under old council business. We were listing everything that had been tabled. I specifically had asked it to come off until we were going to address it. I didn't want to keep reporting no new news. I see no reason to not put it back on if that's what people want for transparency. So my suggestion would once again to be put that back on. Things like website, appliances for the community center, all those updates are happening. But we've expressed concern that they just want to see a little more transparency, and that helps show transparency on the agenda. So if there's no objections to it, they'd like to see that put back on old council business.
Yeah.
Seventh order of business, to take action on the following items of business. Item 25-37, order that the Fairfield Town Council hereby accepts rink equipment donation from the Alphon Youth and Community Center. You should have a letter from the AYCC.
And Patrick Barrett is here if you have any questions.
Ron, I know you reserved time on this item, so I'll let you speak first.
You need a motion and a second first.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Before we get into discussion, let public comment speak first.
Save myself a little time on this, nothing in depth. We had an ice rink before, right out here, and the council decided not to go further with it whatsoever, if I remember correctly, with the old council. Like to know, for one thing, is where this ice rink is going to go, and for second of all, where is this ice rink going to be stored in the wintertime, like we had to do the last one, and who's going to maintain it? when it's
Okay,
up?
this is a question to town manager, because this did come out to the council, and I think she can explain this a lot better than we can,
Okay.
on how this came about.
Yeah, I mean, there's just some questions. I mean,
Right.
we had one, the council rejected it. Now we have another one. Who's going to maintain it? Where's it going to go? Where are we going to store it? All that stuff. So if we could find all that out, would be appreciated.
So at this point, we have a letter for a donation for equipment. I can't report any further than that. We haven't discussed the rink. We haven't discussed the location. We just accepted a donation from the Alphon Youth Center of over $1 million worth of equipment.
We can. Well, you can discuss why we purchased the land.
And we purchased land with TIF money to discuss it.
Do you want me to explain?
Yes, yeah. How this came about.
Would you like me to explain?
I have no idea.
So we did have a synthetic ice rink that we had gotten on loan from the youth hockey league. Yeah, and had that here. Last winter, it was not used that well. What this is for is the town, I reported earlier that we had the closing on the land. The town did purchase 4 lots that are between BDS Tire and Gregory's Disposal, with the thought process and an aim towards potentially constructing an ice hockey arena in that location. So this is not a pick it up and store it behind Public Works ice rink. This is a potential for a fully enclosed area in which not only would it have a sheet of ice during hockey season, so to put youth hockey back in this region, which has been surely lacking since Suki closed, but also a location in which you can do other events in those sort of pieces. It is not decided exactly what it looks like, but there was an RFP process that was put together last year that the AYCC, the Alphon Youth and Community Center, had put out. And it was offered to the town of Fairfield and the town of Waterville. The town of Waterville chose not to participate in that RFP process. The town of Fairfield did. The rink work that had been being done in the city of Waterville included a substantial amount of donated equipment that came from Colby College when they tore down their old facility, which is a lot of what this equipment is here. It was donated to AYCC and put in storage when they would construct a rink, and it could not find a home in that community. We have found a place for it to have a home in our community, and the town council and various folks hope that this will be something that we can bring to fruition. These donations, because they were given to AYCC, would then in turn be are being suggested and given to the town of Fairfield. So that we would have those at our disposal. Sheridan Construction has been involved in years past on various different design concepts for this facility. The PAL, Police Athletic League, is aware about this and was looking to partner with the community for funding-wise. It is a large project that will have to have a lot more conversation and a lot more different pieces, but it's an exciting project. It is at a location in which the community could have an event center that will draw people to our community for economic development purposes. So this donation of this equipment is the first step, well, the second step in that process. And then the next step would be then to have a conversation with the council about a steering committee and what those next steps look like to bring this project to fruition. There were a lot of people in support of having ice in Central Maine. It needed to find a home. And now we're hoping to be able to be its home. So it's an exciting project. It's something the council has been talking about for over a year. It's something I personally have been working on, the land purchase that we had, for over 8 months. And Patrick Garrett from the Youth and Community Center is here tonight, and they're grateful to know that this donation would be given to the town and ultimately used for the purpose in which it was given. So, which hopefully we can put hockey back in Central Maine a little bit more so that they stay here and don't have to travel to Brewer to get on a sheet of ice. So that's the big piece.
And the letter also stipulates that if the project doesn't come to fruition through Fairfield, that we have to give it back to another community that will move forward and pass it along to another entity that has the capacity and desire to develop a community skating rink. So that's also part of the donation letter.
May I say something? This is an excellent economic opportunity for the town. We don't have much here right now, but this is a draw for people to come into our community. It's Proximity to the interstate is a plus, and it's going to mean money coming into the town for our businesses, something that I am excited about. And it's going to take some time for everything to get organized. There will have to be a capital campaign. Money does not grow on a tree for something like this. So we're just going to work towards getting some money to support this endeavor. So I hope people will stand behind us in this. Thank you.
Well, there was a question as where it was going to be stored, I guess.
Patrick, I can also explain where it's going to be stored. It's currently stored in Connex boxes located at Eagle Rental, and we've discussed it with them, and they are willing to continue to store it for our municipality, and there's no charge involved with that.
Nice.
If you have other things to add, Patrick.
Just want to thank you, Council. So first and foremost, I'm a Lawrence grad of 2000 on the Lawrence hockey team and grew up in this community. So I know how important it is recreation and having things for kids to do. I'm also a board member of Central Maine Youth Hockey, and I just happen to be the chief operating officer of the AYCC. And I also know what an economic driver recreation can be, as we've seen with our licensed ball fields that are attracting millions of dollars of economic development to Central Maine every year. So, having the opportunity to partner with the town of Fairfield and give this project new legs after it stalled under our steering committee is a great opportunity. And I would say, while I don't speak for all of Central Maine Youth Hockey Board, I know we're all really excited that this could be a potential home for skating in Central Maine. We have over 100 kids that are in Learn to Skate right now, with about 50 kids involved in other levels of our program. And oftentimes those kids are leaving to go to other programs after what we can provide is no longer, we don't have enough ice to do more than what we currently are doing. So this will, again, build hockey. There's been a great tradition of hockey in Central Maine for decades. And since the closing of Suki, it's been harder, but there's still a lot of people that grew up playing hockey, love hockey, and will come to this community to play hockey and support the local business. So I think Fairfield has a really great opportunity on its hands, and I think there are people that were looking to support the project that we were doing that will come running once there's a firm plan and opportunity to support it.
Thank you, Patrick.
I used to play at Tim's alumni game.
Well, I mean, Pat, my grandson played in your program, loved it. He's grown up now to do something else, and Mason's coming right behind him, and he'll be going to your program again. Mike said it's one of the best things he's ever done for his kid and children, and it's a great program. So, yeah, I can't wait to see it happen.
Okay, any further discussion? I'm gonna finish this segment. I have a extensive youth hockey background. I was one of the founders of PAL Youth Hockey, 10 years, had the outdoor rink, took over from former councilor Phil Roy. Been involved with Central Maine Youth Hockey when that was first formed. I probably did 8 to 12 years there, and also Maine State Amateur Youth Hockey. This will take a lot more discussion and development. Hockey is a very, very expensive undertaking. So an ad hoc committee to create an endowment to make sure this stays sustainable and not put a tax burden on the taxpayers is important to me. I'm excited for the opportunity, but it's going to take a bigger effort. A hockey rink alone will not be sustainable. It has to be a year-round function. I've had the opportunity to work with Skowhegan on open air facilities for an outdoor rink. Doesn't work. It's just it's not cold enough anymore. If it's not covered, the sun's going to kill it. Synthetic ice obviously did not work. It's tough to skate on. You really need to be a trained hockey player for synthetic ice to work. So I don't want people to have a deterrent on what we had. It's not the same. But again, this is a big project, big undertaking. Could be a huge economic development opportunity. We'll have to rely on that committee as well as whatever ad hoc committee that we'll establish. So I don't want to create a lot of panic in folks to say, how are we going to afford this? it'll definitely be something we have to work together as a group and make sure that endowment is in place to make it sustainable. So thank you again for the donation.
I just want to add that just in the short time that we were working on the project, we had raised over $3 million towards it. And so those monies were committed to another project at this point. But there are people that want to support this. And again, with a firm plan, I'm confident that something can
We
happen.
can get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, what is the time frame that you're thinking? I mean, because people are going to ask, you know they are. What are we looking at for a time frame in just guesstimation?
As far as like passing on the equipment,
No, I'm talking completion.
oh, I think that.
That's a us question,
That's a
not a
new
Patrick
question.
question.
That's a who's question?
That's a town question, not a Patrick question.
Well, I mean,
If you had
yeah.
all the money today, you could
Yeah.
probably knock it out in 18 months.
So, I mean, that's, and yeah, we don't even know what the projection is for the building size.
That's our 3 to 5 year plan.
Yes.
We really have to do our studies, but I think, I mean, obviously you have the knowledge and the whereabouts. It's going to take some private donations is what I really want to emphasize. It's not something that the taxpayers are just going to shell out $3 million and build a building. It's not going to work like that. So we'll have to rely on economic development. We'll have to rely on Growth Council and our partners, Maine Chamber of Commerce, whatever donors we can get. So this isn't going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to be a one-year project. It'll probably take a year in ad hoc and find the right manner and make sure it's something that's sustainable. So
Willing
long-term
to help
project.
however we can and facilitate. We can pass on whatever knowledge we gained in 4 years of trying to work on the project.
Great. Great. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
That's an awesome idea, by the way.
So, is there any other discussion?
No, I'm good.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Unanimous? Item 25-38, order that the Fairfield Town Council hereby approves the quote from Yankee Communications for the installation of lights, siren, radio, and all necessary controls on the fire chief's vehicle totaling $10,825.29. Additionally, $3,274 for the installation of a fiberglass truck cap, WeatherTech floor mats, and window vent guards, bringing the grand total to $14,099.29 to be funded by the fire department's equipment reserve account.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Discussion. Go ahead. Ron has reserved time, but I'd like council to start this one out first. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, I was just wondering how many bids that were sent out. I don't see any other bids on here from just Yankee. What was the other one?
There's Huzzy
Oh, there was two of them?
Communications, Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just for, you know, I'm talking like the truck gap too. I mean, was it all just in one?
So I reached out to Yankee Communications and Huzzy Communications for the lights, radio, equipment install. The truck cap, I asked the police department where they were buying theirs from, and they told me Line X of Augusta. And they were the closest facility that actually sells caps around here. The Winslow trailer place does not sell them anymore. So I just went there.
Nothing in Skowhegan or?
No, not that I know of. There could be, but
Height doesn't
I'm not
sell
sure.
on it. So is they
I
just
don't
do truck
know.
beds.
I don't know if Height sell caps. I'm sure they would get you anything you wanted, but Line X does sell the caps, so.
I have a question, because I know you put in your letter here the possibility if a vehicle goes down, that will be a backup.
Sure.
A backup.
Yeah.
Any thought of this vehicle be replacement for engine 3? Rather than having engine 3 going out, just have Med 1 and this truck go out? Because I know engine 3 carries a lot of equipment.
Sure, yeah, so Rescue 3 is our second medical vehicle, has all the medical equipment on it. So, I mean, if that's the council's wishes, you could definitely do.
I'm just concerned about the overusage of engine 3.
Yeah.
And I don't know how old it is and things like that. We don't get a report saying it's overused and have to replace it, and that's a lot of money right there.
Yeah, no,
So
definitely.
I'm just putting that out, so.
I'm good. I just,
Any other questions?
So what I'm hearing is that the new truck could be used as a response vehicle?
Yeah, like the current chief's vehicle now, if Med 1 goes down, a lot of times we put the equipment in that and run that instead of running the fire engine to
Okay,
calls.
because you also still need a vehicle.
Right,
So
at
you'd
that
still be
point, I would
using-
use my own personal vehicle for town use, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Any other council questions? Ron, you still have any questions?
I think Matt answered it. I want to know if there was more than one
Bid.
bid out on this. Is there only one company that does the outfit nowadays for like the police cruisers and the fire trucks and all that stuff? Is there only just one company in the state?
No, Huzzy.
There's Huzzy's Communications in Winslow and Yankee in Benton.
RCM doesn't do any of that anymore?
Yeah, they do, yeah, yeah,
RCM in Augusta does it too, don't they?
as far as I know, yes.
I don't know.
Radio Communications, and right in Augusta.
Travis, was this a reworked bid?
What, I don't know what you're asking.
Was this the original bid that they proposed originally?
No, yeah, the original Yankee quote I got was for $14,000 just for Yankee. I cut out a lot of extras that they had put in and changed the brand of lighting that they had chosen to get a cheaper brand of lighting.
And did you cut out the same with Huzzy?
Yes, when I got a quote from Huzzy's, I mirrored the
All right.
the equipment from, yes.
Good.
Yep.
Ron, you got another question?
Yes, I do. So this is going to be the chief's primary vehicle now? He is not going to be having the SUV anymore?
Yes, correct.
So this is going to be...
When it's ready.
Right, when it's ready. This is all new to me. Is this a Chevrolet four-door? I mean,
It's a Ford F-150 pickup.
oh, it's a Ford F-150.
Which color is it? Is it the black one or the white one?
Black.
Okay, that's one.
Crew cab.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's full four-door.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do with his vehicle and all the accessories on that one now? Nothing can be swapped off from this
Yeah,
vehicle here to go onto the truck?
We are doing that.
You are?
Yeah, all the radios are coming out, going in this truck.
Because it's, I mean, it says here radios and sirens and
Well,
everything.
they have
all
to
in-
install them.
So everything's coming off from this one and going
Yes.
into the new truck?
Yep.
Okay.
Radio-wise, yes.
Radio-wise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions from council? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? No. All those opposed? 2-1.
Thank you.
That doesn't pass.
It passes.
You
I
can
will
have three.
vote 3-1.
Thank you.
Form to pass. I apologize. Item 25-39, order that the Fairfield Town Council hereby approves the appointment of Officer John Holton as a reserve police officer for the town of Fairfield. Need a motion?
Do you need a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Where's he from?
It says, he resides in Etna and has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice at Husson College. And he's currently with the federal police, he's a federal police sergeant with the Togus Police Department. Is he going to have to go through training?
Guess I don't have that.
He will. Every officer that starts with our department will have to have some training. Most reserves will run about 600 hours. I would assume he would be probably around 80 to 100 because he already has his reserve certification through the state, and he's been working as a reserve officer for another department. So I believe he was working for Newport Police Department, and they did away with their reserve program. So he came down to us, and we picked him up about a month ago. That brings
So
up-
does he have to go to the academy?
He does not. He's a
Good.
reserve, so he'll maintain his reserve status with us, and he'll maintain his training to keep his reserve certification as long as he works with us.
So any has Togus time that since they're federal will carry over, because I know federal is higher than state training.
It does not carry over. He is still required to go through the state's 100-hour program, excuse me, it's a 200-hour program, because it covers all of the main state laws. It covers, it covers everything to do with Maine law enforcement, whereas in his current job, he is limited to all the federal laws and just works on federal properties. So there's a lot of difference.
Oh, yeah.
But he's completely, like I said, he's completely certified. That will bring our reserve staff up to 3. Hiring reserves is extremely hard right now. For the most part, a new officer coming in through the door, which we get a lot of, have to go through a physical agility test, which weeds out about 95% of them. Then they go to a polygraph, they go to a psychological background check, and then we start sending them to schools. And after the 200-hour schools, there's about 560 hours, plus or minus, depending on how quick they get through, of reserve training with us. And then if they decide they want to come full-time, we hope, they will go to the academy. We currently have an officer at the academy today. I was there, that's why I'm in uniform. He is on week 9. Actually, he just started week 10 of the 18-week academy, Officer Morrison, so he's still got a ways to go. He asked me to take him home. I wish I could have.
Yeah, actually, I saw him over the weekend.
Yes. We do have one other full-time job offer out right now. That officer, or that potential officer, is going for his physical agility test tomorrow. And as I mentioned, 95% of the people struggle with that. We're hoping that he passes, and it looks like a good potential full-time applicant.
Good.
That'll get you back to full staff?
It'll get us back to full staff.
Fantastic.
We'd like to have a few extra reserve to give the people a bit of a break. They've been working really, really hard, a lot of overtime shifts. So
I saw the detective out last weekend.
The detective, the captain, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's busy.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? 3-0. Item 25-40, order that the town council hereby signs the warrant for special town meeting, notice of municipal election to be held June 10th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
You should have all received your letter to be posted. Self-explanatory. Any discussion? All those in favor? 3-0. Item 25-41, order that the Fairfield Town Council hereby appoints members to the building committee.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. We only had one applicant. Councilor Tully just pulled in here.
I just got another one right here. I don't know if you need it.
So that makes 2?
2.
Well, I think this is an opportunity, and I'll be point blank with this. We already know what we have for town-owned property. I don't think we really need to have a building committee go and take a look at what we have for property to decide on a site. What's important is whether or not we're going to use this land for a police building only, a police building with the opportunity to expand, or 3, a public safety building. That, to me, is what is the big elephant in the room. To go and have a building committee right now decide on the land, I think it's a poor use of our time. We have it here. We know what we have that's available. I think as a council, we should be able to decide on that land ourselves. And then we can go and have a building committee go in. And we also need to decide how we're going to use the land. We haven't even talked about that.
Because I know when the assessment committee was going on, I know myself and Michelle, we put ideas around where we think it should be.
Yeah.
And
things were thrown out and recommendations were made.
Right.
And I think we need to review those recommendations from that building committee and then make an informed decision. I don't think we need to have a building committee right now to do that.
There's also
This is
two,
up
there's,
to us.
2 other buildings that the assessment committee looked at. We're sitting in one right now. The other building is the Fairfield, the old Fairfield Center Fire Station. That was assessed too. We got to determine too, what we're gonna do with that building, and if we're gonna do any more major renovations to this building,
Okay,
per that assessment.
So the thing is, we're focusing now on doing something for the police department. I think,
No, I disagree.
Yeah, I think it's.
so.
I think it's more public safety, so if we talk
So
about...
that, but let's have that discussion. We have not had that
I thought that's what the
discussion.
building committee was for, is we discussed the age of our buildings.
They did do
We-
that.
Right, and that's been presented, but now we're at the point of, we want to expand our fire staff.
Yep.
Okay? I don't think what we have is going to be able to accommodate what we need. That's what this committee is to do. Do we have a new public safety building that's police fire? Our town office is old. Apparently, that leaks, and every time it rains, the basement's wet. So we've got buildings that are falling apart on us, that they're old. And we've been pretty open. I think I put it out there that an average public building has got a shelf life of about 60 years. Some will last longer, some won't. So my thought on the building committee is, what's it going to cost and what are our true needs? Well, we've got surrounding communities that have either recently put in, like say Oakland, there's a new fire, new town office, and Public Works. It's all called economic development. You don't want to come into a town that looks like it was, no offense, but 1950s, 1940s. That's where we're at. We have old buildings.
So, but
What else should we
that's down the road. The first step is to decide how we want, what land, and then how we're going to use it.
I think the first step is decide what we need for a building.
So, well, the committee, building committee has made recommendations as to what's needed. I believe it was for a police station.
The police station's the worst one right now.
Yeah.
That failed to a D or an F.
Or enough.
And that's getting worse and worse. But we keep discussing it. And I'm just concerned about all the employees in every single building and their safety. And also, too, any new employee comes to Fairfield and sees our buildings saying, this is your building, I don't want to stay.
Yeah, that was my concern, too.
That's the biggest concern right now.
The town office, I think, is one of the worst ones, other than the police department, of course, but those working conditions over there are pretty tough, too, so.
And the
They're
fire
old buildings,
station.
but I'd like to see a feasibility study done. I mean, we know the disarray of the buildings. That's basically what the old building committee did. You had an assessment. This was to see what's it going to cost? Is there grant money? Is there, is there ways to do it? You have all the ideas in the world without a cost base. How are you going to pay for it? That's what my hopes with the building committee was for, was,
But it wasn't stated as such.
well, I don't think it had specifics on it other than we
Do we
wanted the
have a
right.
piece of land that everybody agrees on yet?
There's several.
Michelle, please.
Just for clarification, the mission of this committee, when it was approved, is the goal of the Fairfields Building Committee is to determine the location of the new public safety building, meet with each department head to determine space requirements, schedule with other cities, towns that have public safety building, when necessary, submit RFPs for design and cost.
And that term, public safety building, it was really never voted on that it would be a public safety building. It's just being a building to house public safety. So we've got to decide, and that vote has not happened. So do we want the police station? Do we want to include the fire department? And it needs to come to a council vote.
Okay.
And so, then discussion. Tonight's not the night to do that. But we're spending
Kidding me?
a lot of time just treading water here.
Well, can we put it on as a discussion item for the next,
We've got PFAS. 2 on April
We
9th.
do it tonight.
So, be a long night.
Well, we only have 3 people that have applied, and it's going to take a lot more than that.
3 people or 2?
2.
2.
Because we
2
got
people.
myself as the chair. And then we got
Robert?
We got Robert, and we got Matt. There's the 2 that applied, but he's a counselor, and that's it. we
And you
got
need more
Michelle.
people. So in the meantime, we could do our due diligence and take a look at the land, and then we can go and say, this is where we would like to build, and then go and decide on what we're going to build.
This
So
is my...
get this over with.
This is my thought process on this, why we're not getting volunteers. A lot of people just want to put foam underneath the buildings, just saying, take care of it, the foam. You gotta understand on these buildings, it takes the horizontal level on the ground, it takes the foundation first. Then you build it on top of the foundation. If your foundation's not good, your building's going to collapse. That's what it's doing right now. And a lot of residents have contacted me saying, why don't we just put foam underneath that? That's only a temporary fix. We need a permanent fix on this.
But again, you're talking about groundwork, and I'm talking about buildings that have a useful life, and they're at the end of their useful life. I want to know what it's going to cost. A location, to me, really, at this point, don't matter.
But you need to start simple.
We
You
have,
need to
well, we
start
have
with a
land. I need to know what it's
location.
going to cost. I need to know what our needs are. If
But
we're
we
gonna-
don't even know what we're building.
Exactly, that's why we need.
Well, I mean, I think we should do and we can we vote on that tonight, Michelle? On
not
what we
an item.
need?
We're
That's not on
missing
the
Matt.
agenda.
I would rather, this is something that we've been vested in for the last couple of years. I think Matt Townsend should be here if we're going to vote.
You was going to say something, Michelle, and go ahead.
One of the pieces that I had been told may be preventing you from getting applications is because the qualifications of your applicants needed to have knowledge and background in construction, citizens of Fairfield, knowledge of environmental and/or occupational safety, engineering, and flexibility of time. And while those things are ideal,
I got them last time, I got 4 other people last time. 2 contractors, and we got former town manager, and we got Robert Cezak.
but if you asked for just citizens of Fairfield to be involved in this process, you might get more pieces. That's all. So I'm saying, I've had multiple people say, I didn't apply because I don't meet the qualifications. And I think you might find that there are people that are interested if you lessen that. But that's up to the
I
council.
think we have plenty of people that have diverse backgrounds that would be very knowledgeable and helpful, but they're not going to check off every box that we have.
No, if you just put the
listed.
word "or"
Yeah.
in that description.
Yeah.
I think that would, you could be a citizen of the town, or you could have some engineering background, or you could have one of those
Because
other
even-
qualities.
Even I had citizens saying, what's the chair's background? What's my background on this? My background is 32 years in the Army National Guards and 15 years with the 133rd Engineers, 3 years overseas in Panama, and I hold a bachelor's degree in industrial technology. So that's my,
So or, you're qualified.
Right.
So, but the way, I don't think in that description, there's an or.
It says knowledge of environmental and/or occupational safety, engineering. That's the only or.
And it should be, any one of those qualities could qualify somebody to be on that committee.
Citizen of Fairfield or
Or.
knowledge of environmental and/or. Because putting an or there means that you wouldn't necessarily be a citizen of Fairfield.
But, yeah.
It's up to the council.
I think the
You can
original
push your
mission
deadline
stuff
back.
is written correctly because it encompasses everything, including site, build,
But if
cost.
people aren't applying because they don't have an engineering background, but
maybe we
they're
need
a
to-
citizen of the town.
Maybe we need to redo the application to open up those qualifications to an or, you know, they need to understand we're going to take the most qualified individuals that we're going to get. We're not going to check all those boxes. And you also got to remember that the people that probably have that knowledge and background don't want to exclude themselves if we do move forward with the project because of conflict of interest. They wouldn't be able to bid on a project.
That is correct.
So I don't want to exclude, you know, any construction company that we would potentially want as we move forward with that kind of project. Where we only have 3 people, 3 applications, and our deadlines, I think we've already extended it twice.
No, you just had, this is your first deadline.
This was the one? March 20?
Yep, this was your
Okay.
first one, yep, March. The deadline was last week, so that you had them for your packet. Robert Sazak had filled his out prior to the committee formation, and then I guess Matt turned his in tonight. Yep.
I'd just like to see
Do you
us,
still think they need to be the ones to go and decide on a piece of land, or could we do that ourselves?
We got to determine too response time, because since we get the police department and the fire department, response time. That's.
Well, I think that's what she means by location.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you say we have properties, right? We can
Right.
really, you know, shorten this up pretty quick. Michelle, how many that you know of that would be suitable for a public safety building encompassing 3 safety, including the town office?
2,
2, and they are?
located next to Public Works and the lot on 201.
How about Escalon Drive?
The lot that we own on Escalon Drive, I don't think is suitable, simply because of its topography. I'd have to double check it, that one. It's not, the lot that we have isn't a great lot. It has the retention pond, it has some steep changes, and the stream runs through it, and it's not a great lot.
I mean, that's pretty obvious what we need to do, really, right? You know, we're not going to go way down 201 and just, I mean, I don't know why we just can't vote on that.
Yeah, because we got Benton, we got to
Yeah.
respond to, then.
Just get it done instead of procrastinating again and again and again.
get what done, the location?
Yeah, I mean,
So we'll make it an item for the next agenda. We're
Yeah.
not going to vote on it. It's not on tonight. Tonight, right now, we're discussing about appointments for the members of the building committee.
Well,
And we don't have enough,
No.
and we're not
So-
getting them, so.
So this is the opportunity. We could do this in the meantime and get something done on this.
yeah,
So,
at least put it on the agenda for next week for.
Yeah, I'm all for that, and then the Council Townsend will be here to weigh in as well. And just, when it's not on tonight's agenda, I don't feel we put that forward tonight. Do you want to scrap the building committee at this point, where we only have,
no, I think it needs to be extended.
okay?
But as long as people realize you don't have to have all those qualifications to be on that. It's one or some of them, so.
So you want the mission statement to be rewritten to not include location, because we pretty much know where it has to go.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss that as a discussion item at the next meeting. So-
Are you okay with that, Peter?
Yep.
And then how long out on the new application?
Another month on the applications for the committee, Michelle?
It's up to the council if that's what you'd like to do.
That sounds good.
Yeah, by April
Last April,
23rd.
Well, that's our town warrant meeting.
April 23rd is a council meeting.
Yeah,
so
but-
we should know by then.
Okay, so do we need a motion to add that, or do you just want me to ask Michelle to put it on as an action item?
Well, first you have a motion on the floor to
To
appoint
appoint the building committee?
building committee members, so you need to vote on that motion.
I don't think we have enough, so we
And
can
then
vote on it.
No, we don't.
So there's
you
no
have your
further-
discussion. The
No,
only
but-
question I would have for
Just rescind the
clarification
mo-
is
I
if
mean, the motion.
you
We
want
can vote it
us.
down. We've had
can vote it
discussion,
down.
we can vote the motion down. So if there's no more discussion on the building committee, adding that member, appointing the members. And all those in favor of appointing?
No, wait.
All those opposed? Peter, abstain?
yep,
You opposed or abstain?
opposed. I'll go with the rest of you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, unanimous on the opposed, so the motion does not carry.
Now we have to extend it a month, correct?
Right,
We
till
need a
the-
motion to,
I'll make a motion that we extend the building committee application process until April 22nd. That way, when we know, meet on the 23rd, we'll have numbers.
we're going to rewrite that mission statement to not include location.
Yes, yeah, and rewrite the mission statement so that it does not include location.
I second that.
Okay, motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only thing is that if your deadline is the 22nd, just know you won't have applications until the day of the meeting, that's all. Just so you're aware, okay?
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Okay, eighth order of business, council workshop, other business, other council business. I know Matt has
I'm
one
just going
he
to take
wants
that
to
some other time.
You sure?
Yeah, we're just getting too far into it, so, yeah, I'll bring that up some other time.
Council Thibodeau, anything?
I'd just like to remind people that pamphlets are out for spring cleanup for this year, and they can be found at the town office. There's some out here too in the card rack, so spring cleanup is coming.
What's the date on that? Do you remember?
Don't remember right now. May 12th.
May 12th?
May
That
12th.
is coming up.
And
pretty
free
quick.
day is the following Saturday on the 17th.
That's a week after budget,
May 12th is the same day as town meeting,
town meeting.
so should make for a great debate on whether or not you approve spring cleanup next year.
Yeah, that's great. 44,000 pounds. All right.
Councilor Lawrence?
Yeah, okay, this Saturday, March 29th, Grange is having their suppers back again from 4:30 to 6. That's it,
4:30 to 6.
4:30 to 6.
Council Tully, nothing else to add? I'm just going to bring up, we've looking for volunteers again. The town's hiring. There's lots of positions, as both chiefs have already said. I believe the town office has filled their position. We need reserve officers.
Yeah.
All these committees are extremely important, whether it's budget, any ad hoc. I mean, this is where we're going to get the information we need. There's a couple of members in the audience today I would love to see. Please volunteer for these committees, get a lot of knowledge, and we need your help. So anybody at home that would like to get involved, the building committee is going to be a big one, so please apply. Fairfield heydays, don't have a lot to report on at this time. A lot of people with ideas, not a lot of people that want to volunteer, so we will keep reporting on that until we have something more concrete to report on. So that will do it for tonight. There's no executive session. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Take a motion to adjourn.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
hold on.
How about you back up a little bit?
Okay.
The next regular meeting?
The next regular meeting of the Town Council will be Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, to be held as a hybrid meeting in the council chambers via Zoom at 6:30 PM.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Recess? Motion to recess?
Motion to recess.
Recess. Same thing.
And Tim,
Yeah.
we're